Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my Eurovision React Review channel. So, as promised to my subscribers and followers to my channel, I did say that each day this week I would do a video that basically sums up my experience of Eurovision 2022. So yesterday I talked about my reaction and my feelings of Ukraine's win and the United Kingdom's second place. So please do check that out. The link is above. If you're tuning in and you haven't tuned in before, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do support my channel. So the purpose of this video is to basically talk about some of the interesting results that we received in semi-final 1, semi-final 2 and the grand final. So I've kind of gone through all of the results and kind of made a note of kind of all of the results that I found, I wouldn't say shocking, but found quite surprising, made my eyebrows do this a little bit. But before I do that, I just want to mention three things as a follow-on from my video, particularly some of the comments that have been made in that video. Number one, I don't know where these comments are coming from in regards to Spanish people. I say Spanish people because you never know online, do you? You don't know who's posting something, where they're from. And I've experienced this already this year in social media. People pretending to be a particular nationality to make that nationality look bad. I'll say that first. Second of all, I don't know where those comments are because they're not on my YouTube channel as much as I can see, and they're certainly not on my social media. So obviously when I went to the Madrid pre-party, I spoke to lots of Spanish people and I managed to make so many Spanish friends, and not one of them seems to be salty or bitter or angry about the result. It just generally is what I felt about the UK, just pride. And in fact, a few people saw my video and messaged me on social media being like, how you felt with Sam Ryder on Saturday night is how I felt for Chanel. I don't know where those comments are coming from. I said in my video yesterday, just be a bit careful, because from my experience in Turin, being in Turin that week, everyone I met, the people that made their way to Turin aren't the people that tend to go online and waste their time being negative and sending out effectively hate messages. Look, I understand there are some people out there that may be saying X, Y, and Z about Chanel or Spain being robbed. It's not, from my experience, Spanish Euro fans. Like when Tanchagueras didn't win and was robbed, and there was so much hate towards Chanel, no one was calling those haters Eurovision fans. I think I'm so sorry that you're having to read that, and if anyone's hurt by reading that, I am really, really sorry. I just don't think it's the Eurovision Spanish fans that I've ever met. So I just want to kind of make that clear. And also, I'm just going to kind of stop this now and just show you a little video. For those of you that do feel the need to go out of your way and basically add more hate into the world, like we've got enough of it right now, just remind yourselves what Eurovision is about.
Let's go.
So stop taking yourself so seriously. Strange. Second of all, I'm not going to comment on the kind of drama in regards to juries potentially being disqualified, etc., etc. I saw Matt from ESC United did a video. I would say if you want to kind of find out a little bit more about that, find that video, because he's going to be more in the know. Unless the EBU officially releases some statement about the countries and reasons why, I think it's a bit unfair at this time, because I know particularly for some Romanians, they're sitting back feeling really kind of offended by this. And again, from my experience over the last kind of couple of weeks with the EBU and RAI and Eurovision 2022, all of that comes down to just the lack of transparency and communication. Some of the hatred and some of the nastiness that seems to have found its way on social media from Eurovision fans or people following Eurovision has come as a direct result of just a lack of clarity from the EBU about certain decisions. So I'm hoping something more clear is stated this week, because without that, then all we've got is hypothetical situations. And it's just not healthy. The third thing is the drama as a result of that, about what now happens moving forward, about how songs are chosen. Look, there is nothing perfect about this voting system. This kind of 50% jury, 50% televote. There is nothing perfect. And, you know, there is a concept called legitimacy. If something is legitimate, it is right. And sometimes something is legitimate when it's just the best possible solution. It might be bad, but all the alternatives are worse. In my opinion, looking at the jury results, looking at the televote results, there is some craziness in both sides. In my head, I just think both of them cancel each out. They just cancel each out. So I'm not saying this system is perfect, but in my head, it's the best one we got. So I'm not advocating for any change. It's not because the UK may have benefited from this, not at all. But certainly from years gone by, I'm not a massive lover of 100% televote either. So there we go. And I think lastly, again, I'm not directing this towards any particular country, but particularly people who are saying it's all about politics. Well, it always has been. Like, there was a really lovely comment, I hadn't thought about this before, from someone from the Netherlands on my video saying, well, when we came second with Calm After the Storm, there was a real feeling in Netherlands that Conchita only won because it was an LGBTQ message. And there was a lot of politics going into that, particularly about Russian politics. There were certain countries that said that they wouldn't show it. And in Netherlands, they felt robbed. And they felt, I mean, to be fair, Conchita Wurst is an absolute goddess or god, or it's genderless, I guess, their identity, isn't it? Heavenly, a deity. But do I listen to Rise Like a Phoenix a lot? No, I don't. I don't. But I mean, yeah. So that person made a really good comment about in Netherlands, they felt robbed and they felt maybe not to kind of do it again. And that actually it wasn't a song contest that year. It was more about voting for a political message. So it happens, guys. But we know like 3 or 4 weeks time, we're going to just move on with our lives. But we're just going to have to deal with this kind of drama, this ripple effect from Saturday, probably over the next week. And I will say, please stop spending energy and time trying to work out alternative scenarios. It is a complete waste of time. Because in my head, like, so what is the alternative? Because in my head, there's only 2 alternatives here. Either Ukraine did so poorly in the jury to counter that televote. I think someone wrote something, they'd have to be like 20th or 21st after the jury points to basically not come first. That was never going to happen. That song it's a good song, Stefania. So that was never going to happen. Or the other alternative is Ukraine didn't participate. Like, what sort of world or scenario should that be a thing? So we have a winner. We have a reality. There was no other kind of route or realities that ever would have happened here. So we just need to deal with it. It's just bizarre. Anyway, get down to the business, Shane, because you need to go to work soon. Okay, so top 10 surprising results that I found looking at semi-final 1, semi-final 2. I'm not necessarily crazy about my order. This was quite rushed, but these certainly are the things that certainly stood out to me. Okay, so honourable mentions. Number 12 and number 11. Number 12, Moldova coming higher than Norway in the televote. I think a lot of people thought that Norway would kill the televote, and as a result of that, do really well. Norway had a top 10 finish, and I think Norwegians are extremely happy with that. Norwegians knew it wasn't going to win. It couldn't have won, even though it is a decent song and the production of the song is quality, because it has a gimmicky edge in regards to the aesthetics and the lyrics. It was very unlikely to win. So a top 10 finish for Norway is really, really good. I mean, like I said to you when I saw it in semi-final, what semi-final was it in? Moldova? I can't remember now. I said that the cheering in the stadium was louder than Norway, so I shouldn't be too surprised. But I did watch it again last night using Graham Norton British commentary, and it came across so well on TV. I think next year, I think if I am blessed and have an online or on-site press pass, I've just got to be a bit vigilant when I'm watching these kind of rehearsals, that once you put a crowd in there, everything changes. In the camera angles, you can see crowds, like the artists, they kind of respond to crowds. So I'm going to be a bit careful, I think, what I say next year, because I was a bit disappointed by Moldova's staging, but last night I didn't think anything they could have done anything different. It just all came together. The other honourable mention is Armenia not doing as well. Look, I mean, if you're a follower of my channel or a subscriber, you'll know that I thought that was top 10 material easy. I am quite surprised that Armenia didn't do better. But I mean, it was a decent result, and Armenia should be very, very proud of Rosalind. 1, 2, where are you? Yeah, awesome. Good song, great artist, lovely lady, and amazing staging. Okay, so let's get into the top 10. So 10th is... boom. Poland's 12th place. I thought Poland was easy top 10 and viable for top 5. But when you start looking at the results, it all starts kind of making a little bit more sense. There were so many ballads, so many slow songs, and it was so evident last night. I mean, it didn't help that Graham Norton, our commentator, kept pointing out to the British public how many slow songs there were. But look, there were so many slow songs. And I thought Australia was easily top 10. I mean, they only managed to pick up 3 from the televote. Did better than Poland, I will say, with the juries, which doesn't surprise me, I must admit. If you look at, obviously, the jury points, the songs that seem to kind of... Because, again, there were so many slow songs. The juries weren't going to be putting 10 slow songs in their top 10. It seemed to be the more authentic, laid-back songs that you could connect with. So, you know, your Portugals... your Netherlands, Greece. Poland is a good song, and I think I have an emotional connection with this song. And I think when I said I heard it in the semi-final 2, I had tears, or when I was watching a rehearsal. But not everyone will with this song. And I think I didn't realise, as someone else pointed out, that actually, if you count the words in this song, I don't think there's that many actual words, as in there's a lot of repetition. I think 12th place is a great position for Poland after a few years of bad results. So I think Poland should be very proud. Christian was a fantastic ambassador for Poland this year, and he's put Poland kind of back on the map when it comes to Eurovision. But I was surprised with 12th place. 9th place, Iceland being a televote qualifier. Like, I think so many people thought that Iceland got through on juries. No, Iceland got through on televote alone. So that made me very, very happy. Number 8, Albania not even close to qualifying. It wasn't even a kind of borderline. The juries killed it, and I'm not surprised. Look, I love this song. I still listen to it. I love Ranella. I'm still not really in a position to kind of talk a little bit about kind of my real thoughts about kind of what I think, and particularly what may have happened here. Again, if you're a subscriber, then you'll know that I've alluded to the fact that I do have some not massive oversight or knowledge on this one, but after my experience in Madrid, and like I said, speaking to Ranella, speaking to one particular person in the delegation, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. How's this going to go? And it just didn't go very well. The juries killed it, not because it was first on, because the staging was not as good as it could have been. As I said, Israel didn't qualify in semi-final 2, but I think, you know, that's professionalism at its finest. That's what it should have looked like. And a few people have come out in her defense in a real respectful way and said she didn't have the money. Like, Ranella was self-funded. Well, I thought she came from money. I thought her dad was pretty big in Albanian TV. Anyway, I will leave that there, but it might be the case that actually she funded it, and that's as much as, you know, Albania and her could afford. Number 7, Greece and Netherlands flopping in the televote. Now, this is the argument for why we shouldn't get rid of juries, because I think we can all kind of agree. I watched, I kind of started falling out of love with Netherlands to a point after watching the rehearsals, because I just thought it wasn't coming across as well. But I watched it again live last night, again through the BBC's transmission of it, and there was something that did connect on Saturday. Obviously, the jury is voting on Friday, isn't there? That song deserved to do well. It was a quality song, and so did Greece. So if you get rid of the televote, if you get rid of the juries, then you're going to get scenarios where Greece and Netherlands, which I think were 2 fantastic songs. Greece, like, what more could have you wanted? Like, Amanda sang that song so well. The staging was one of the best staging this year. But I was surprised. I remember being surprised Saturday night, seeing the results come through for Greece, Netherlands, and it flopping in the televote. Number 6, Latvia having more points in the jury than the televote. I thought the televote might see Latvia through. Apparently not. Nope, they got more points for the jury, which is a bit of a surprise. Number 5, Czech Republic, just not bottom 5, right? Look, they were thrown under the bus to give us an amazing start to that show. I know they had no choice in this, it was the producers, but they were thrown under the bus effectively. But for me, like, selfishly, it paid off because it was such an amazing start to that night. And they did really well in their semi, they came fourth. So yeah, someone did say, I wasn't sure whether the producers actually get the results of the semi-finals and take that into account, because you don't want to kind of throw like someone who came first or second in the semis under the bus by putting them first. But apparently the producers may not see the results. But Czech Republic was sacrificed so us Eurovision fans could have an amazing start to that show. At number 4, Cyprus last with the juries. I thought, because it's an upbeat song, but it had an ethnic flair, I thought that might see it kind of through a little bit. Her vocals weren't the best. And as I kind of said as I was watching the rehearsals with my online press pass, there was an element of a lack of energy after a while with limited movement from her. And like I said, with Ireland coming after it, you then start realizing the thing that may not have been connecting with Cyprus as you were watching it was the energy. But I didn't think it was going to come last in the juries. I didn't think it deserved it. At number 3 is going to go to 2 countries, North Macedonia and Croatia, for coming 11th. I never thought, like, I loved Croatia's song. In fact, I was listening to it a lot yesterday. I loved that song. I just didn't think it was going to come 11th. And North Macedonia, there were a significant bunch of people who really did like this song. I just never thought it was going to come 11th. I mean, so happy for both those countries. And in my previous video yesterday, I met Andrea on Saturday. Such a lovely lady. So happy with that result. I don't think either of those countries are going to sit back and go, oh, so close. I think they're going to look at that result and see that as a positive thing. So yeah, number 3. Right, final 2. Number 2, Azerbaijan qualifying with 0 televotes. I did see someone saying yesterday that maybe they should introduce some sort of kind of system whereby if you get 0 in one of them, you don't automatically get through. So you could get like 115 televote and no jury and not get through. With the juries this year potentially being manipulated, you do then get into a scenario whereby potentially juries might think, well, if I don't give it points, then others might not give it points, and then it might not go through. So I think that's not healthy either. Look, this isn't the time to kind of attack countries. Some countries that have come under question about maybe their juries being a bit off this year are countries that have obviously been talked about in the past. I do find it very surprising when I was watching on Saturday night, countries giving Azerbaijan 12 points. I didn't see anything magical in that song that warranted full marks from the jury. That's all I'll say. Something does feel a bit odd, but I don't want to kind of pinpoint a country. I would like the EBU to really look at this year's country. And on a serious note, I want the EBU to name and shame juries. I do think particularly this year, in regards to people going out their way and finding social media accounts of like RAI members and people in the stadium to kind of voice their hatred in regards to how the rehearsals were going, it probably isn't a good idea to name the jury members. But I think next year, the EBU should say, this is a disclaimer, we will announce your name, and we will say live on the show that your jury results were odd and therefore you've been disqualified. Because I think you're pointing at the juries and you're not pointing at a nation. And I think jury members, knowing that next year, will think, oh gosh, if I do this dodgingly and I get bribed or whatever, and I potentially could be named and shamed, and therefore I probably won't do it. But yeah, Azerbaijan qualifying with 0 televotes is dodgy. Something smells not right there. And finally, because I need to go to work now, France. I really, really thought after watching that second rehearsal on Saturday and seeing France's staging that this was top 10 material. I don't even think its placing was that bad. It was 6th. What didn't connect? And it's quite interesting, isn't it? Particularly if people are still sitting at home thinking Tancha Gueras were going to win Eurovision. Well, there was a lot of comparison between Tancha Gueras and France. And look what happened with France. So maybe Chanel winning Benidorm Fest was the best thing. But France didn't deserve that place. And it didn't deserve the low points in the televote. It didn't deserve the low points in the jury. But interestingly, my 2 friends who I was with on Saturday night didn't like France's song. So I don't know what's happened there, but it's bizarre. But I hope France continue to take risks, because I don't want that to be an example of taking risks doesn't pay off. But I think for me, France's low result was a bit of a shocker. So yeah, those are my opinions. I need to quickly go to work. I'm really running late. If you're still here and you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. Please also do click the notification button so you're informed if and when I post videos. And yeah, until next time, stay safe.